Bordeaux is known for some of the best red wines in the world. So why are we drinking a sparkling wine? We discuss that and more on today's episode 1 of 3 in our new Best Bang for Your Buck Bubbles Challenge. Let's hope this one's not a waste.
Welcome to Stop Wasting Your Wine, a wine review podcast dedicated to helping you discover great wines with great value for every occasion. I am Joel, and you're listening to the best damn wine show out there. As always, I'm joined by Colin and Aaron. Best bang for your buck, Bubbles. Week 1 of 3. I'm pretty excited here. Going right back to your pick today, Colin.
That's right.
2 Collins in a row.
Yeah.
About that.
Can't lose.
I don't
really
think that's
with 2
fair.
Collins in a row.
I mean,
The people are not ready.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's right.
We all had a moment to choose any bubbles. Best bang for a buck. We got to go wild. We got to reach out of our comfort zone and grab any bubbles we wanted.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
how'd that
Which
go?
was kind of daunting. Well, it was fun. I remember, too, I think at one point we were going to say not from Champagne. And then we just kind of decided, let's just leave it open-ended because the prompt itself will probably guide us to find something outside of Champagne
For sure.
that's still a great bubble. So, but that's
Yeah.
a lot. That was quite, that's a big ask there.
Bang for your buck is a real phrase that scared me off of some stuff.
Yeah, because you're looking for value, right? That's really at the end of the day what these wines are all about. It's not necessarily maybe the best wine. It's the wine that brings the most value. Yeah, which of
Sure.
course, what's part of value? Price, and then of course enjoyability are really the way I look at value anyway. So
Totally.
it'll be interesting to see how our picks line up against those criteria.
So, Colin, tell us what you brought in week 1 of the Best Bang for Your Buck Bubbles Challenge.
This evening, we are drinking a Crémant de Bordeaux Brut. The producer is Dulong. This is from Bordeaux, France. Super interesting blend. Cabernet Franc and Semillon. I'm not sure what percentage of each of those grapes, but really cool. This
That
one
is
comes
fun.
in at 12% ABV, and you can pick it up for around $17.
And that is, I'm not going to lie to you, that's an intriguing price point, Colin, but also a little bit of a scary one. Okay, this is a swing.
Yeah.
It could go either way, but
Yeah.
you know, with part of that value conversation, like I mentioned, is price. So I'm hoping that
Yeah.
this far over delivers on that $17 price.
I gotta tell you that when you told me that you picked a wine at $17, like that brushed me off the plate a little bit because that was like I actually reached out to our friend over at One Bottle Review asking him for because he's like a champagne expert, and I was like, hey, I was looking for that insider clue, like help me out, like is there a champagne bottle I can grab that's a bang for your buck? And he was like, hey, the best bottles that you can get that are like a affordable quote unquote bottles of champagne are in
Yeah.
that $60 range. And
Yeah.
I was just like,
Ooh.
oh,
That's
on
tough.
one side, $60 for a bottle of champagne, and compared to some of those crazy champagne prices out there, great. I would first of all would love to have his list of good $60 bottles of champagne.
Sure.
Sounds
Yeah.
fantastic. On the flip side, walking into this challenge with you two gentlemen, with Colin throwing a $17 bottle out there, I'm just a little nervous about walking in with a $60 bottle. I had to I got brushed off the plate there, so I had to step back and see if I can find, something else in the ballpark.
I think he might have done you a favor on that one because I think that the point of this is to find the one that punches above its
Sure.
weight.
100%.
Like, that is the
100%.
goal on this one. And that gets obviously the higher price point, the tougher that I'm sure there are some that do it, but like enough for it to account for that value proposition. I don't know.
I was hoping he was gonna direct me to a magical $20 bottle of champagne that no
Just
one knew
tell you.
about.
Be like, go get this one.
He did
It's
not.
$25.
He did not.
Listen, I've had a $20 bottle of champagne, and it was garbage. So, I'm glad nobody went that route today.
Yep.
Interesting, though. It's an interesting proposition. Not easy.
But that's the beauty
Yeah.
of Crémant, right? That's why we're such Crémant fans on the show. It's such a good way
Right.
to get a solid style of French bubbles at such a lower price point.
Crémant And, I think there's some really cool regions that we're going to talk about too in this challenge. I think there's going to be a lot of cool stuff that we're going to do. But today, we got to focus on this Dulong Crémant de Bordeaux. Why don't we do this, guys? Let's have some first sips. I want to hear one or two words, couple of words, your first thoughts on this Crémant de Bordeaux. All right, Aaron, I'm going to go to you first. What are you thinking?
I think my word's going to be acid.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Very nice.
I like that.
Don't
Colin?
disagree.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with intriguing. I think there's a lot going on here. And it'll be interesting to parse through all that because, I don't know if it's good or bad, but we'll find out.
Yeah. No, I would agree. I think I'm going to go with, I'm talking myself out. I'm going to go with bready.
Okay.
As I say it, I'm not sure I like that as an answer. It was my first thought, but there's some things I want to break down with you guys on that one. But I'll go with that as far as first sips is concerned. But no, I think we're all kind of right here, and I think it is very intriguing.
It is. It's a unique sip, and I look forward to getting more into it.
Unique, and one of the cool things here too, and one of the coolest indicators that we are definitely not in Champagne is that blend Cab Franc in a sparkling. That's so cool.
Super cool. Yeah.
And have we seen that before?
No, not on this show.
Ever?
Yeah. I don't think so. I don't think I've ever. This is such a unique blend, which is part of the reason, which I'll talk about a little bit more in a second. But part of the reason why I picked it, I mean, Cab Franc and Semillon. The Semillon could add some really cool texture to the wine, but I have no idea what the Cab Franc's bringing. I don't think I've ever had a white Cab Franc, so it's super interesting. Super interesting.
Could be interesting. So why did you pick this bottle, Colin? What led you down this path?
So one, I always like to bring new stuff on the show, and we've never had a Crémant de Bordeaux. We've done Crémant d'Alsace, we've done Crémant de Bourguignon or Burgundy, but we've never done one from Bordeaux. So I thought it'd be cool to experience something new. Two, it really the blend absolutely drew me to it. I mean, it's just so unique and so much fun. I just wanted to see what it was all about, to be honest. And then three, I think I kind of took the stance of sometimes you can find value from big regions. As I said in the open, Bordeaux is really well known for its red wine, not necessarily its sparkling wine. Doesn't mean they're not producing some awesome sparkling wine. And sometimes you can find that value in those big regions through different grapes and different styles. So that's what I was hoping to accomplish with today's wine.
Well, Colin, I don't know if you brought the value, and I don't know if you brought the amazing, outstanding wine, but I do know that you brought today's wine. And I think we should give this thing a proper try. So let's do as we always do.
Like not a compliment at all. It's just a statement of fact.
My role as host of this episode is to be extremely just impartial.
Well done.
And present the facts to the listener and let them know if this is a waste of their wine or not. Okay?
Well done.
So
Love that.
Thank you very much. Let's try this thing. All right, let's give it a sniff. Colin, I'm going to go to you first. What are you getting on the nose?
The one thing that really sticks out to me is the floralness. That's really the one thing I get most intensely at first sniff. There's definitely some other stuff going on. You get a little bit of citrus, I think, maybe some green in there, some green fruits. And then I think from the Semillon, you can almost smell the waxiness that the Semillon brings or can traditionally bring to a blend. So, it'll be interesting to see on the palate if that carries through, because it's a very interesting sniff, and it's definitely not something that you take a sniff, it doesn't smell like your traditional sparkling wine. I'll say that.
Yeah, agreed. Aaron, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with Colin. I think the untraditional aspect is really what stood out to me, and I think it's almost like the lack of aromatics that really that pops up. Once Colin point out the floral aspect, I agree 100%. But you really have to work for it. Like you really have to get the wine going, really spin it and then stick your nose in there. And then you can kind of pull it out. But otherwise it's just, it really isn't that aromatic of a sparkling wine, which isn't a knock or anything like that. It's just it just the aromatics themselves are kind of they're just a little bit tougher to pull out. But I agree, like the floral aspect is there, that waxiness I never would have pulled out myself. But once Colin said it, I completely understand what he's naming, and it's super interesting once you kind of pick that out.
Yeah, I agree, especially on the subtlety part. Like you gotta really get in there and think about it to pick up on these pieces. As you guys are talking, I'm hearing what you're saying. The only other thing I'll call out is maybe a little bit of pear. I think somebody maybe said green fruit, but pear really peeking out at me here. And then just in general, agree that it's atypical, in a
Yeah,
potentially
for
very
sure.
cool way. But
Definitely.
definitely got
Yeah, the
something
only
going
thing
on
I
here. Mm-hmm.
the thing I would add is there's kind of that sweet cream note to it. It's not necessarily,
Mm.
to me, it's not overly like brioche, but it kind of has that traditional method sweet cream edge to it.
Well, it's so funny you say that because when we were doing first sips, I said bready, but I was really struggling and internally battling because it's not really like a breadiness. It's not the typical
Sure.
bready of an aged bubbly
Yep.
that you might think of. It's got its own interesting thing going on. I think we're gonna have to try
Definitely.
this thing to really understand it. So let's maybe go there, give this thing a sip. All right, I'm gonna switch it up, and Aaron, I'll go to you first.
Yeah. What I will say is my first word of acidic, I really will just stamp. Like the acidity of this is really nice, and it cuts through, and I think it's the right balance for sparkling wine. It's just it kind of keeps you salivating, keeps you drinking without being too much, without being overbearing. The citrus is nice. Without being like an overly citrus, without being like an overly juicy, without being an overly apple cider, kind of sparkling. Like it's in there enough to be reminiscent of it without overpowering, and you get a little bit of those floral notes, but not, they're not the primary thing. They're in there a little bit, but I think, as like Colin mentioned, like the floral was the front on the nose, but the citrus is more in the front, on the palate itself.
Floral note definitely hits you in the back of the palate. It's super interesting, kind of like it's almost like, I wouldn't say it's missing flavor, but there's not as much flavor on the initial sip, but then it really hits you in the back. I will say the mouthfeel on this sparkling wine is really nice. I really enjoy it. It has the waxy hint to it. And it's interesting because sometimes you get that brioche creaminess feel, but this doesn't quite have that, right? Like Joel, I think you said it's not quite as brioche creamy
Yeah.
on the nose, and I think a lot of the mouthfeel is coming from the Semillon and how waxy Semillon can be in this one. So super interesting mouthfeel.
Well, I'm glad that you kind of introduced the waxy aspect to this whole thing, because I think that might be kind of the key to unlock why I'm having such a hard time understanding if this is presenting as bready or not. I do want to say too, you said something interesting about how the floral notes are really kind of showing up towards the end of the sip, and I think sort of everything here is showing up towards the end of the sip. It's you really got to swish it around. But what is noticeable up front is that waxiness, is that, almost weightiness to it. Not in like a heavy way, but there's a weight there. There's a
Yeah,
coating that's going on.
totally.
And it's interesting too, because another thing that I experience is it's a really lively glass of bubbles. Like the bubbles are really, really effervescent. Like it's happening there. I think in any other, glass of sparkling, that would really, really pop. But something about that kind of waxiness, that coating, I think is also kind of tampering it down a little bit. And I'm thinking that might be that kind of experience might be what I was initially thinking is that breadiness. But really, I think waxy is a good way to think about it.
For sure. And there is that sweet cream element too that I think really, like, all of the flavors kind of, you're right, are towards the back. There's not a lot of from the palate, but the sweet cream does kind of work its way all the way through, and then is also the finish. Like that's the one note that I think works its way through the entire wine. It's not terribly intense, especially up front, but it is the one thing that kind of lingers.
Interesting. Definitely.
Very interesting.
If we were doing the most interesting
Yeah, for
bottle
sure.
of bubbles here, Colin, you
Yeah.
would be really looking really
I
nice
would have
right now.
I
crushed
mean, you'd be in
Unique.
first place so far,
Crushed
hands
Unique.
down.
I'm in first
No
place so
doubt.
far anyway. I mean,
You're
literally the
all
first one of this
categories.
That
stuff.
is fair. That
Yeah.
is fair.
I'm
One of
winning.
one.
at this moment. So
You are. Enjoy it, buddy. No, really cool. It's interesting. At least I always like at least where something's very interesting, and there's some cool things and some things I still need to wrap my head around here on this one. So I think let's continue to have some sips, continue to think about this, but in the meantime too, let's do some wine drops. All right, to kick us off, I'm going to be completely honest here. When I was looking at this bottle, I thought Crémant de Bordeaux was very intriguing, and I wasn't really sure what that was, but there was another word here, Brut, and I was like, oh, I've had a ton of Bruts. I know what this is going to taste like, and this is definitely an entirely new experience, even though this is a Brut bottle of sparkling wine. So,
yeah,
question, what does Brut actually mean?
that's actually a really good point, Joel. Brut is one of those words that if you're not familiar with it, you just don't know what it's going to bring to the wine that you're drinking. So Brut is actually not describing the flavor of the wine, but the sweetness of the wine. And a Brut sparkling wine is going to have relatively low residual sugar compared to other styles of sparkling wine.
Yeah, and I think that's a trap because people hear dry and they assume that means taste, but you can have two Brut sparkling wines that are completely different. And one can be really citrusy and sharp, and the other can be rounder and creamy, and same, sweetness level, but totally different experiences.
Yeah, I think that's a key takeaway here. It's almost like those designations, they're not really telling you what to expect. It's telling you what not to expect. Like this is Brut. This is not going to be sweet. There's 1,000 other things the winemaker could have done to influence how this is going to be, but this will not be sweet.
And Colin, here's the thing that's actually drives me completely crazy, because the step up from Brut towards sweetness is extra dry.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
That
So
is confusing.
Figure that one out.
So if you see a bottle that says extra dry, it is sweeter than Brut.
That's right. Absolutely. There are a couple more dry versions. There's extra Brut and then Brut Naturel. But yes, anytime you see dry, it's actually going to be sweeter.
Is that funny?
I didn't make the
What do we
rules. I don't
do?
know who made the
I
rules.
didn't do
But they're,
But
they're
if you
absolutely
like
insane.
dry, if dry is your thing, look for Brut.
Go Brut.
If you like sweet, look for dry.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. That's right. Man, oh man.
You heard it here, folks.
I heard it here, folks. But yeah, and this Brut, as we mentioned, is from Bordeaux. And of course, most people don't associate Bordeaux with sparkling wine. So, Aaron, how does a region that's better known for its world-class Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot shape what's in this glass?
So I mean that's what makes this kind of fun. So Bordeaux does make sparkling wine, and it's generally underrated. So the region has a moderate maritime climate, which makes grapes ripen steadily without getting overly ripe. And that usually means you get good acidity, and that acidity gives sparkling wine that fresher, crisp taste.
Yeah, there's a reason people like Bordeaux for Bordeaux, and this is really where you start to see that regional influence on the wine that you're drinking. We're drinking a Bordeaux here. I mean, you should expect that there's going to be acid, there's going to be light, citrusy, kind of lighter fruit flavors that are occurring. It's not supposed to be heavy. It's not supposed to be something that's, super weighty. We're talking about grapes like Semillon. We're talking about Cab Franc. Like, these are not heavy. They might be a little funky, but they're not heavy grapes. They're wired for freshness. They're wired for that kind of light flavor profile.
Even though the label says Brut, the region is really shaping the style before the winemaker does anything in the winery.
So let's take it even a little bit farther, right? Because what we're drinking here is Crémant de Bordeaux, which means it's made using the same traditional method as champagne.
Yeah.
It's a different region. Champagne drinkers, we know. Don't get mad at us. We're not accusing it of being champagne. We know. But it is the same process.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the really important piece. Also, I think all of us in our selections for this all chose traditional method sparkling wines.
Yeah.
I think that was a smart play by us all in our attempt to find the best bang for your buck bubbles, because that traditional method, sure, there are other methods that give really cool, interesting qualities and different experiences. But if you're looking for that, complexity, and you're looking for that kind of layering and that breadiness and that toastiness, you want to look for something that is a traditional method. It's just that's the way that you're going to get to those notes that make champagne what it is.
No one's gonna get knocked off for choosing the wrong one. We're all equally.
We all chose a path for sure. We each thought we had the key to finding a good win for this challenge. All right, so let's wrap it all kind of into kind of the big takeaway, I think, of what we've been talking about here. The two big things that we've really broken down is, hey, what's that sweetness level? Are we talking the brut? Are we talking the dry? Are we talking the demi-sec? Whatever. That's going to be a major indicator of the type of wine that you're going to experience. And then the second thing is, it's that region. Just like everything else that we've had, the region just has such an impact on what you're drinking, the method in the case of sparkling wines, that we're going from wine to sparkling, of course, going to have the, just a huge impact too on what's finally in that bottle. So to really kind of get an understanding and to know what you can expect from that bottle, kind of wrap your head around those three key pieces, and then you're there.
Yeah, and it's so important to understand all of that because the world of sparkling wine is massive, and there's so many
Yeah.
styles, there's so many different regions, different production methods. If you really want to drink the sparkling wine you enjoy, it's important to understand what all of those mean, and the best way to do that is obviously go out and taste them all.
Right. And I mean, for those that can't go out and taste every single sparkling wine out there, I mean, I think we're trying. I mean, the
That's right.
the best place to start is like
It's a
knowing
marathon.
the regions that you love and knowing the grapes that you prefer, and then going from there. And like, because
Yeah.
there's so many regions and so many places that make their own sparkling wines, and if you know what you like, and you know the styles you prefer, and you know the dryness that you prefer, like, you can then go and you can find the sparkling wine that matches your style. You don't have to be locked into, just going and finding, the most expensive champagne on the shelf and being like, this is what I have to buy and this is what I have to drink. There's so much out there for you.
And I'm going to
For
jump
sure.
on my soapbox here for a second.
Oh, here it goes.
Sparkling
Soapbox.
wine isn't just a celebration wine.
Oh, good.
Just
We haven't
drink
been on the
sparkling
soapbox
wine.
in a while. I'm glad. This
Yeah,
soapbox
we
been
haven't.
there.
I'm
get
getting
back
back
up
up
there.
For a bit.
I'm getting back up there.
Good.
Yeah.
Just drink more sparkling wine always.
Yeah.
Just try it, drink it, enjoy it. You don't need to wait for a celebration to drink sparkling wine. It is honestly one of my go-tos. I probably drink more sparkling wine than I do any other kind of wine. So
For
I
sure.
absolutely love it. And there's so many great ones out there. So just try it, drink it, love it.
Happy
Yep.
Tuesday.
Don't wait.
Cheers.
Life is long, but drink more sparkling wine.
Amen, brother.
Speaking of drinking more sparkling wine, we have a sparkling wine open here. I've been having some sips here and there, especially as we're learning a little bit more about all these, things that are impacting what ends up in the bottle here. I'm kind of translating that to what we're drinking. So listen, guys, I think we're there. Let's go ahead. Let's have a final sip. Let's talk about anything that you want to call out, and then I want to hear your reviews of this Dulong Crémant de Bordeaux. All right, Colin, since this is your wine, you will have the honor of going last for your review. Aaron, I'm going to let you go first. And as a reminder to all of the listeners at home here at Stop Wasting Your Wine, we don't really believe in numbers when it comes to rating wines. So we rate our wines on the vibe that the wine has for us. So our must shares are wines that are exceptionally good bottles of wine. They have that little something extra that deserves to be shared. Our solid pours are really good wines with really good value. Our casual sippers are enjoyable, but not necessarily memorable. And then when a wine is undervalued, low quality, or just undrinkable, this is a waste of your wine. And of course, we all have our coveted wine fridge. This has 3 spots for our top 3 favorite wines of the year. And that's how we do it here at Stop Wasting Your Wine. So Aaron, I'll go to you first. Any kind of final thoughts, and then where are you putting this wine?
Yeah, totally. I mean, so nothing new, showing up for me. I've kept it chilled. I got my wine bucket that I brought up for Bubbles month that we got. Yeah, could try to keep it chilled. I had no desire to drink a warm Crémant after the hour and 45 minutes of shenanigans that it takes us to record an episode of the show.
Yeah.
So, nothing.
Oh, a little peek behind the curtain there for the kids at home.
It takes us some time to get our ish together. So that being said, nothing new popping up. And so review. This is tricky. We made some adjustments to our rating system over the past couple months, and it's actually kind of put me in this kind of weird mindset because it has me comparing things to other bottles, which isn't what I'm trying to do. So I'm stuck between like a solid pour and a casual sipper. And the reason I'm stuck in that spot is because on one place I'm like, I'm drinking this and I think this is a fine bottle and it's $17 and that seems pretty like a solid value to me, and there's nothing wrong with this bottle of wine, right? Like I am enjoying it. And it seems wrong to put it in the casual sipper side because that is our like lower rung that a lot of other bottles would be in. That being said, our definition of a solid pour is these are really good wines. And the casual sippers they are enjoyable but not necessarily memorable. And to me, that is actually the definition of this bottle of wine. This is enjoyable. I'm enjoying the heck out of it. But there actually isn't anything memorable about this bottle of wine. Like there is nothing that that's gonna separate this bottle of wine from any other bottle of sparkling wine that I am going to drink or try in the future. So based on that definition, it is to me a $17 bottle of sparkling wine. Like it's great in that sense. And so to me, it's like it is a casual sipper. Like it is the definition of that. And if you would like to drink a sparkling wine and you want to enjoy it, and it is something that you like, and I think like as we talked about, like you want to drink it on a Tuesday night or whatever, awesome. Like this is exactly what you're looking for.
Fair enough. And I can't say I disagree with anything that you've just said, but I do have some additional thoughts on this. If I look at this purely in how much am I enjoying this wine, I think I'm really closely aligned with what you're saying, Aaron. Like enjoyment factor, it's really nice. I'm enjoying it. I don't know if I'm gonna I'm not writing it in my journal like, dear Joel, go back to that Crémant de Bordeaux. But when I'm looking at this as just this observation of this wine, comparing it to our scale, I think I've got to go ahead and say that this is a pretty solid pour. The wine drinker in me that likes being presented with something that's cool and unique and new and something that is out of the ordinary is really happy right now. And all of that for $17, all wrapped in a package that is objectively raised up by being a quality product is what's putting me into the solid pour situation here. So it's I have the weirdest feelings of this solid pour designation because, it's not like my go-to profile, and it's not, what I love to drink the most in a sparkling wine, but it's just pretty darn cool and a good quality experience for $17. And for that reason, I'm going in the solid pour category. Colin, this is yours. What do you think?
So I oftentimes talk about mouthfeel and how important I think that is in the enjoyment of a wine. And I think the uniqueness of this mouthfeel compared to a lot of the sparkling wines that I've had elevates this. I think the flavors are great. It's not crazy, but they're all really nice. I'm enjoying them. There's enough flavor there with every sip that every sip is really enjoyable. But I think what's great about this is the amount of time we spent talking about how it felt, the waxiness, kind of how it's acidic, but also like not acidic. There's just so much to think about with the mouthfeel of this, backed up by really nice flavors, that I would agree that this is a solid pour for me. I think this is memorable in the way that I'm experiencing it. It might not be the memorable as far as the best bottle of wine I've ever had, but as far as uniqueness is concerned, like I'm gonna think about this when I'm drinking other sparkling wines, just because it's so different from what I was expecting. And I think it's a blend of the grapes were super interesting. So for those reasons, I think it's a solid pour. I would absolutely buy this again. I think it's a cool, unique bottle of sparkling wine to show somebody as a different version of sparkling wine. And again, we said earlier, try a bunch of different sparkling wines to see what you like. I could see people really liking this because it's a very cool, very unique bottle of sparkling wine. So solid pour for me.
I could see people really liking this, and I can see people having exactly the experience that maybe Aaron, you and I are having a little bit more, which is like really cool, not my bag. But either way, I don't see people being mad that they spent the money on this that they would have to
For
spend
sure.
to get in here.
That's
The
a good
barrier
point.
of
I'm just
entry
not
is
even having
so
like a
low.
not my bag experience. I'm just having
Yeah.
like a cool.
You're just
You
not
know, like, I'm
impressed.
just like,
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair.
Like I'm just like,
Yeah,
neat.
yeah.
And for $17, Joel, you bring up a good point. This challenge is about value. I think it definitely hits the value at $17. I mean,
100%.
you can't argue
Yeah.
that this bottle at
This was not
$17 is
overpriced.
anything. No, not
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
I'd pay $20 for this. Probably not any more than 20, but I think in that range, this is a cool bottle of wine to check out.
For sure. Totally agree. Really cool. This was an interesting one, guys. I love when we
Super
do something
interesting.
new. I love when our reviews and our thoughts are kind of from different areas too. So it's cool. This brought out, I think, some interesting pieces of what we individually too enjoy about sparkling wine and wine in general, and how we rate and review these things. So fun process to
A
go
lot of
through
fun,
with you guys.
for
So
sure.
thanks for bringing this into our lives, Colin. I'm not going to praise it too
Absolutely.
much though, because mine's coming up next week, and I don't want to set the bar too high. But I will say I feel really,
But you're
really
between us.
confident in my choice. Yeah,
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm glad because you're not a Crémant.
that is
That's right.
correct.
Joel's bringing out some
Find out
Nava.
next week. Yeah, I was looking for, I'm not going to lie, a Corpinat, because we had that
Oh,
one
man.
a while back.
Oh,
We
man,
all
that would've been
loved
good.
it.
I was looking for
Yeah.
one too before I landed on mine.
Okay, that's for next week. A little sneak peek into what's coming up next week and the week after that. So come back and hang out. In the meantime, one more thing we got to do in this episode, guys, and that's let's do a quick game before we go. One for the road. Aaron, I believe you have a pick your poison for us today.
Yes, I do, gentlemen. All right, pick your poison. I'm either going to lock you in a room with a bunch of people who don't care, and you have to explain to them why they should not drink their champagne out of a flute.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Or I am going to lock you in a room with a bunch of people who care deeply, and you have to explain to them why they should just drink their champagne out of a flute. Which room would you rather be locked in?
I am currently locked in that second room with you guys. I'm constantly carrying the banner to just enjoy your glassware and have fun.
You spill
and
everywhere when you swirl, Joel.
Whatever, but it's cool. It's fun, and that's
It is
Coops
cool.
aren't
I don't
made
know.
for champagne.
yes, they are specifically
think
made for
it's-
champagne.
Are they?
Are they the best vessel? No, but what's more fun than fun glassware with your bubbles? Do it, man. Have fun. Whatever. Live your life. Nobody
So
else is
you
going
would
to tell you to.
you would rather be in a room with a bunch of like W set fours trying to tell them to just drink their champagne
First
out
of
of
all,
flutes?
you could be a W set 99, and I am not. I do not care. Whatever. Like you say that like I should be intimidated. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, totally. I'll be
I'm just
sipping
asking
my
who you wanna
cool
deal
little
with.
flute, hanging out.
I'm asking. Yeah, okay. What about you, Colin? Which group of people do you want to deal with more?
Yeah, I'm going with room number 1 because I feel like I try to do that, and I'm kind of that guy anyway. So, like, me just explaining to a bunch of people why they should be drinking out of the correct glass, kind of right up my alley. That just kind of fits who I am anyway. So,
Very on
That's
brand.
not too much different.
for
Yeah,
college.
very on brand. Not too much different than a normal night for me. So, I'm going number one, and there's a lot. It's just they don't care anyway. So, I'll just be enjoying talking to myself about why wine glasses matter.
Fair enough. You know what? I'm gonna split the middle. I'm gonna say it depends on what time of night it is. If it's the beginning of the night, I want room
Nuances.
one, when everyone's like trying to impress people and they're like, "Oh, I want to learn what I'm supposed to do." You know,
Mhm.
and, like, I want to know what glass I should use. I want room one, and I want to teach them what glass to use. If it's the end of the night, I want to be in the room with the experts, because at the end of the night, they don't care either. They'll just drink the champagne out of whatever glass. And at the end
That's
of the night,
true.
trying to teach the noobs which glass they should use, they don't care.
If it's the right wine,
That's
I'll
fair.
drink it
I
out
like
of a
that.
shoe.
Yeah,
Like, who
right.
really cares?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm not gonna lie. My kitchen. We're redoing our kitchen, and we've been drinking all of our sparkling wine out of plastic cups, and it's been
Oh
fine.
yeah. Hey, you know what? It
I don't
seems
even
to
know where my
taste
wine glasses are.
about the same.
Yeah, it's about the same. It really is.
You just get that weird plasticky taste in the front end, but after that, it's fun.
What if I was totally like the biggest proponent of drinking out of flutes, but then when it came to plastic cups, I was like, no, get out of here. That's absurd.
That was your lime.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, you've crossed it, sir. How dare you? Okay. That was fun. All right, folks. Hey, listen, I think we've done it. Week 1 of the Best Bang for Your Buck Bubbles Challenge.
It's in the books.
Really strong contender and a really interesting, cool experience. Not a waste of your wine across
Absolutely
the
not.
board. Definitely check it out. Really cool. Just, interesting little niche area of wine, sparkling wine that, I don't think a lot of people have explored. We hadn't. So very cool. Go check it out. Speaking of checking things out, Aaron, if people want to check out what we're up to here at Stop Wasting Your Wine, where can they go?
Yeah, go stopwastingwine.com. Check us out there. You can email us at cheers@stopwastingwine. Check us out at YouTube, Stop Wasting Wine, obviously. Instagram at Stop Wasting Wine. And otherwise, just, tell a friend, like, follow, subscribe. We'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, we would. And we appreciate you for coming and hanging out with us this week. We hope to see you again next week. And in the meantime, just remember, stop wasting your wine.
Bye, all.
Bye.